We're back on the David Pakman Show. I am Farron Cousins from Ring of Fire and Fair and Balanced, sitting in for David today. Let's get to some bad news, right? I mean, we've talked a lot about things that are ridiculous. Now it's time to come back to reality for just a moment. For the last few weeks, basically ever since Kamala Harris came into the presidential race, Democrats have been enjoying a steady string of almost 2 months of just really great news, right? We've had amazing polls. We've had record-breaking fundraising numbers. We had Kamala Harris decimate Donald Trump in that debate last week. I mean, the wind is at our backs. It's been sunshine and rainbows and happiness and energy, enthusiasm, and now one of the worst polls I think I've seen in a long time. And I take no joy in reporting on this other than this is a good motivator. So it is my job, unfortunately, to bring you the news, good news and bad, and this is a pretty bad one. A new poll from Gallup this week shows that Kamala Harris is 25 points underwater with her favorability ratings with independent voters. And yes, her favorable versus unfavorable with independent voters is worse than Donald Trump's. Let me read you these numbers. 44% of independents view Trump favorably and 53% view him unfavorably. So, okay, he's -9. 35% of independents view the vice president favorably, while 60% view her unfavorably, meaning that she is 25 points underwater with the key demographic. Now, that's bad. I don't want to sound like Donald Trump and be like, nope, fake poll. It's a real poll. It's a real poll that only polled 1,000 people. Okay, so you know. There is that. We're a country of 333 million people. You spoke to 1,000 of them, and you've come to these conclusions. Mathematically, I understand it. As a political science degree holder, I also took classes in polling. And granted, you're Gallup, you're national polling, far be it for me to tell you how to do your job, but you know that such a small sample size is not representative of the country. So, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this, but I do think we need to take the poll at face value, okay? I'm not going to sit here and say, nope, it's totally an outlier, disregard it, everything's great. I don't want to do that. In fact, if anything, I almost wish these numbers were a little worse right now. And let me tell you why. As I started saying, we've had 2 months of great news. But every now and then we need a reality check. Every now and then, you got to get that kick in the teeth. You got to be pushed down to get back up, and that's where we are right now. And that's how this entire race should be running. And to their credit, the Harris campaign has made it clear, we don't care what the polls say, we're going to run like we're 10 points behind. And that is the best strategy. And that's what everybody out there that supports Kamala Harris and Tim Walz also needs to act like. They don't need to have this, cocky, we're totally going to do this. They need to think, we're behind, we have to get ahead. We have to get new people. We have to educate people that are on the fence. We have to convince them to come over to our side. So that's what this poll is. We shouldn't look at it as bad news. We shouldn't look at it as devastating. And we sure as heck should not look at it as, oh my God, the sky is falling. This is a motivation point. That's how we view this. It means we've got a lot of work to do and not a lot of time to do it, but the work is doable. That's what David does every day with this show. That's what I do with my shows. That's what everybody else that does this is doing. And we need more of it. We need people out there getting the word out. That's what this poll is telling us. And the poll actually does have a bit of a bright spot, because in terms of running mates, that's where things shift a little differently. J.D. Vance, of course, is 11 points underwater with his favorability rating, 36% favorable to 47% unfavorable, whereas Tim Walz is the only one out of Trump, Harris, and Vance that's actually a net positive. 41% view him positively and 40% view him negatively. Now, you can do the quick math on that. That only adds up to 81%. 19% of the country is like, I still don't know him. That'll change after the vice presidential debate, assuming J.D. Vance does not back out of it. But, you take a silver lining where you can. Tim Walz, right now, out of the 4 people running for president and vice president, is the most popular one. But it's not all bad polling news for Kamala Harris. We do have some other good ones, because along the same time that the Reuters, or Gallup poll, came out, we also had polling come out from Quinnipiac that showed that Harris is actually doing pretty darn good. In Pennsylvania, she has a 6-point lead over Donald Trump. In Michigan, a 5-point lead, and in Wisconsin, a 1-point lead. She is also, in those swing states, closing the gap with Donald Trump on the issues. On the economy, in Pennsylvania, 50% prefer Trump, 48% prefer Harris. Michigan, 50% for Trump, 48% Harris. Wisconsin, 51% for Trump, 47% for Harris. Those numbers were a lot different just a few weeks ago. She's closing the gaps, and that's great. Immigration, same thing. Pennsylvania, 50 for Trump, 46 Harris. Michigan, 49 Trump, 48 Harris. Wisconsin, 52 Trump, 45 Harris. Preserving democracy, however, that's where things definitely shift in Harris's favor. Pennsylvania, 45% say Trump will preserve democracy, 52% say Harris will. Michigan, 45 Trump, 51 Harris. Wisconsin, 47 Trump, 50 Harris. And a very important one here, if there is a crisis that put the country at great risk, who would handle it better? Pennsylvania, 47% said Trump, 49% said Harris. Michigan, 47% said Trump, 51% said Harris. And in Wisconsin, 48% said Trump and 49% said Harris would handle a crisis better. So you take the good with the bad. But all this tells us is that we got to keep working. Nobody can get complacent. And to be honest, I don't think people have gotten complacent, okay? I'm not accusing anybody of kicking back, putting their feet up on the desk and saying, no, we got this, everybody stay home. No, I haven't seen people doing that. I have seen energy. I have seen enthusiasm. I have felt those things for the first time in a long time as well. So I don't look at these, the favorability with independents. I don't look at it as a problem right now. I look at it as a very good motivator, showing us that we have a lot more work to do. And again, we don't have a heck of a lot of time to do it. But it can be done, and we're on the right path to making it happen. It is unfortunate, honestly, that we're not going to have a second presidential debate. Harris obviously got a big bump from that one. Her numbers on the economy, numbers on immigration, numbers on everything went up as a result of that. And that, of course, is why Donald Trump has backed out of it. He sees what a big boom that was for Harris, and he doesn't want that to happen again. He would rather take the L than have to go out there and take a very public L by not getting on stage with her. All we have is that vice presidential debate. And we're not going to have probably 67 million people watching that like we did the presidential debate, but hopefully it does generate a lot of views. Hopefully Tim Walz does as well as Harris did. Hopefully J.D. Vance does as poorly as Donald Trump did. And hopefully Walz can focus on the issues, right? That's what needs to happen here. Everybody knows how horrible J.D. Vance is. No need to, unless you could do like Kamala and really just trap him in himself, I'm okay with that. But if Walz can focus on the issues, we can see those numbers for the Harris campaign continue to go up.